Dr. Adegbulu, I think we have a centralized information center now, and I'm sure you know about that. And that's the one by headed by Mr. Michael Mary, the DG of the NOA. So now, even yesterday, someone said we now have a coordinated information center where information is dished out the way it should be. You are a security expert, and I'm sure you know the essence of having a coordinated security or information center, which the government has actually put in place. But the question now is how best we can bring the girls out unharmed. If you say this is not conventional warfare, I insist we must look at that before we go further in putting blame on anyone. How best can you get people out if we can't negotiate and it's not a kind of battle that we can say this is the enemy lines?
Thank you very much. Much as it's not really palatable to cry over spilled milk, I want to say that the greatest mistake Nigeria made in recent times was to reject AFRICOM, an initiative by the American government. Since we rejected that, if you go to Germany, there are bases, American bases there. Even in Britain, American bases there. In Brazil, almost all the countries, America has bases there. Are they not sovereign countries? And our people argue that it's a loss of independence or sovereignty to accept. Look, you don't need to show pride when you don't have nothing. What kind of pride? A poor man, for instance, that is proud, he will die in hunger. So we don't have what it takes to actually, tackle these challenges, and we are rejecting some offers. We did that 2 years ago. I'm glad they are trying to, have them back now. To get these people, we engage those who have done it before. Let's give them all the support that they need. They can use their drones, their reconnaissance equipment, and then drones. To fish out these people. They've done it before, even a more sophisticated one, hiding somewhere in Afghanistan. Okay? So if they had done it before, we give them full support, they can do it again. Much as I sympathize with those whose children are not with them for this reason we are talking about, I do not believe. Because can you even negotiate with Shekau and his men? On what basis will you be negotiating, number one? And can you even trust Shekau for any sane negotiation? Seeing the man we all see on screen, is it such a man you negotiate with? On what basis? What will you be telling him? When he says, okay, let's swap, it's a key pro quo thing, okay, give in return. Do you know the next demand is going to make again? For me to stop insurgency completely, oh yeah, you must do this. Do we continue to pander to his demands? Because if you grant one, you grant all.
Is it possible to stop insurgency permanently?
It's unfortunate that we have allowed this to fester.
No, looking at the history of countries that have been involved in this.
Not permanently, but we can reduce them to a territory where we can monitor them very well. Right now, has that not? Not at all. No, has it been done? If it has been done, they wouldn't have been in Yobe yesterday. If they had been done, they would not be in Jos. Right now, the girls that were attacking Makurdi State University, or this, we don't even know whether they are armed robbers, whether they are men of these same people we are talking about. So these are issues we are talking about. We have not been able to actually pin them down to any specific. They are almost everywhere.
What do you say?
And they are attacking us by surprise every day.
What do you say to those who say that this basically has a lot to do with improving the technological capability of our military? That it's not about whether or not they are incapable or have no strategy, because they can't be publicizing that on the pages of papers or in the media. That if they improve that one aspect, this can be sorted out.
Thank you very much. There are a lot of things that need to be done. Some of these things are not about equipment. They are about us.
How?
Would you believe that on a yearly basis, our military, we understand, gets $6 billion from American government on a yearly basis, apart from the money that is appropriated? Now, when all these things are appropriated, we want to look at the procurement procedure within the military or within the government, if you vote money into some of these things and give the same money to party men buy inferior this thing and this thing that cannot even stand the test of time. They can't shoot. They can't do anything because party men will cut their own. And we all know how these things work. If all these monies are budgeted 20%, it could even be 50%. Here we will not see any result if they are handled by politicians. But so when I see our lawmakers and some other well-meaning Nigerians begging Boko Haram, I feel insulted. Even Boko Haram, you should even be begging. Does that man look like somebody who will accede to any appeal? No. We beg those who do not allow our strategies to work.
Who would those be?
Politicians.
They are the ones not allowing the strategy.
If you vote money, for instance, to buy equipment, to give to the boys, to boost their morale, and the money does not get to them, who do you appeal to? And I've said it before, I think in a particular platform, and I want to say it again. Even if opposition, because there is this theory that the opposition may be also working, to bring down government, or anything, is an evil wind that will blow no one any good. Because why? If there is no peace, there will be no election. If this situation continues, then President Jonathan will rule in perpetuity. So the earlier we bring this situation to control, under control, the better for all, including the opposition. What about? Should they have any hand in it?
Okay, that's assuming if they were really
involved. Should they have?
This one.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on it? I mean, when you think about it deeply, do you think they do? It's
a possibility, Mark. It's a possibility.
What are some of the things that point you in that direction?
Statements, vilification of the commander-in-chief. In so many media, just any time they have the opportunity at their convenience, they blame President Jonathan. They say Jonathan is that. Jonathan is decimating their people. How do they genocide? And all these statements point to the fact that these people do not really want the government to get over this thing, and so many other things like that. So they should know, if this thing persists, their own ambition will be scuttled for a very long time.
I had a theory, a school of thought that alluded to something like this, and it says, part of those statements, I asked you, sir, but this time around, it's affecting some members in the military because some of them wouldn't want to go to war, saying, you want me to go kill my own persons. It's a theory. I don't know how authentic that is. But what if that were the case? Wouldn't that be a major challenge? Because even if you get foreign ground troops here, and that ideology or that perception has not been dealt with, you're still dealing with sabotage.
That they wouldn't want to kill their own people.
Yes, you don't want to go to war.
Yeah, it depends on where their own loyalty lies. You see, because irrespective of what you are or what you were before, where you come from, when you enlist into the army, your loyalty is just one to your country.
Yeah, that's on paper. But what if in reality it's different? Because not many people are in the front lines or are in touch with those in the front line to actually understand what the challenge is. So do we really understand what is really going on there? So because some people are not telling us exact things going on there.
They are not telling us exactly what's going on, but I still trust that the commander-in-chief should know those who are loyal to the Nigerian state and those who have divided loyalty.
But it's not that easy because those who are not loyal, these are people who you've trained. These are people who you've armed. Are you going to flush them all out of the military? So what if they now go back with that intelligence and go back, as we saw with Oguchi, who the DSS arrested? You
are very correct. But I want to say that what we are experiencing now is not unique and it's not peculiar to Nigeria.
Do we understand that?
We should borrow a leaf from those who have successfully, done this and they are progressing.
Aren't we going to be compromising something about us?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Can we afford to compromise that?
To compromise our sovereignty?
Yeah.
Of course, we cannot do that, but we can send people on training. We can borrow a leaf from how people do it. And sometimes, if you are a chief executive, for instance, one way or the other, Chamberlain, you will know those who are with you and those who are just paying lip service. Definitely you will know. It's just because our governments over time have alienated themselves from us. Okay? They are not allowed to actually feed the pulse of the people. If they feed the pulse of the people, there's some information unsolicited that they will be getting.
Comment
but
on
they have
this.
shielded themselves from so many of
Look
such.
at that activity by the DSS. Now, you remember that when that Yanya bombing occurred, after some time, they apprehended those who were behind it. They even, Interpol also helped out in that, and those specific targets were got. And it looks as though we glossed over that one. Now, it was a short space of time that that feat was achieved. And then you also hear some cases where policemen say, well, they were able to foil a bomb attack. The military also reports those kind of cases. Now, we don't seem to publicize some of those things and actually say, okay, look, in what circumstances, yes, congratulations, you were able to do all of those, but of course, you know how it is. If one bomb goes off somewhere, we forget all of those ones. How do we relate with all of this?
You don't need to publish all these things. We just want to see results. And the result will show, will manifest in the way this evil tide manifests on a daily basis. So if a lot of things we have to tackle, for instance, the funding of these people, retired soldiers, recent cases, for instance, of some of those who retired from the army, who have now sympathized and joined all these Boko Haram, all these things. How do we treat our retired soldiers, even those in service? How do we treat them? Do they have any welfare package? Do they have any hope of tomorrow? Are they insured? Are their families insured? What exactly are they looking up to when they leave the army? So these are issues.
At the end of this analysis,
yes,
Dr. Adegbulu, are you hopeful that our girls will come back?
I'm optimistic. And optimism is a propeller of life. So on that basis, I would say I'm optimistic. Now, putting all these things together, that is, if the people who have come to help us actually deploy all they have, all they know to actually fish out these people, of course, will rescue our girls alive, I believe, without pandering to the selfish demands of Boko Haram, which we also, again, put our sovereignty in jeopardy as far as I'm concerned.
All right, there's so many comments coming through here. I'm trying to see if I could just read one of them, but Henry keeps asking this question that how are they feeding these girls who are abducted and the ones that are recently announced to have escaped? So all of these theories just kind of look strange.
Yeah. The more reason I am optimistic that these girls will be rescued alive very soon. Now, the logistic involved in harboring these girls is gargantuan, because you can't be carrying 200 people, up and down everywhere at all times. It simply shows that they are somewhere now. They are domiciled somewhere. That's where we need a superior equipment and a superior technology that those of American and countries that have offered to help us. Reconnaissance will actually show us where they are. That's one. Then the actual rescue operation will also be provided by these same people. I have argued elsewhere, Mark, I said, look, for instance, the problem I have is that of being able to work together with our men on ground. You know why? So I just wonder, the military that has failed all this while, who have not been able to locate anything, who have not been able to rescue anybody, have not been able to stem this tide, how will they now cooperate to allow Americans to succeed where they have failed?
Well, we'll have to let it go there.
Serious food for thought.
Okay, thank you for coming on. Dr. Femi Adegbulu is a security analyst, and we've been looking at the situation we have on our hands. Thank you for coming on this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'll return after this break. Join us again.